What's up YouTube? I'm Valentin the Mad, and today I'll be revisiting Crysis. Crysis is a first-person shooter in which we'll be controlling Nomad, a Spec Ops operator sent with his team to respond to a distress call on an island that was captured by North Korea. Today I will revisit it, discuss what made it work, and why I find it more exciting than its sequels. The setting for most of the game is a good mix of realism and science fiction. You got the tropical island, the realistic looking soldiers, and vehicles that are similar to modern tech. On the sci-fi part, you got the nanosuit you are controlling, that some enemies are also wearing, and the occasional alien encounters. The nanosuit gives you abilities such as cloaking, superhuman strength, and high jumps that wouldn't be possible if the game went for a fully realistic setting. It delivers an interesting mix that I personally greatly enjoyed. Now, as I mentioned, we don't have that mix for the entire game. Towards the end, Crysis goes full sci-fi with an alien ship level, frozen world levels, and a massive bullet sponge as the final boss. In the sequels, Crysis went further in the science fiction direction, which is one of the reasons I personally lost interest. One of the best features of Crysis is the ability to play it your way. You can go for stealth and kill enemies quietly one by one, you can go all guns blazing, or a mix of both. Crash a jeep into a hut, shoot the gas can at the back, then turn on your cloak mode and proceed to eliminate enemies one by one. The features that give you this freedom are: the nanosuit. It gives you more options of movement with the high jump, and the cloak mode makes a stealthy approach a lot easier. The other thing would be the somewhat open levels. It's not an entirely open world, and you will face natural barriers that restrict your movement. However, most of the time, you are given more than enough room to maneuver, and you can approach each situation in whatever way you see fit. And perhaps the most important part is that both approaches are simply fun. The gunplay will deliver with good feeling guns and destruction mechanics, to which you'll get in a moment, and the AI enemies, while not particularly smart, are fun to play around with if you go for a stealthy approach. And now to my absolute favorite thing about Crysis, the feature that got my attention in the first place, the focus on an interactive environment, or in other words, the destruction. From small stuff, such as cups or bananas, through the interior furniture, all the way to palm trees and huts. The reason I find it so exciting is that destruction is one of the things that give depth to the graphics. Even the most detailed photorealistic game ever won't feel quite right if everything remains static throughout the fight. However, when you see response on nearly every shot and explosives can take down walls, it gives a whole new level of depth to the experience and helps make every single firefight feel unique. Now I should note that Crysis does not have a fully interactive environment. The terrain can't be deformed, many structures don't show any response, much of the vegetation can't be destroyed, and even some interior items won't respond. However, back in 2007, even the somewhat limited destruction delivered impressive response that you couldn't find in other games. What I was thinking back then was, alright, it's far from perfect, but imagine the stuff we'll see when those mechanics will be expanded and taken further in the future. And this is the main reason I lost interest in the sequels. The emphasis on destruction was no longer there. And, just like in Gore, scripted destruction and pre-made destroyed environments do not count. One more thing I wanna mention regarding destruction. Dynamic destruction of walls and buildings is a big feature, and it's not something we can expect to see very frequently anytime soon. However, what I do think should be the standard in pretty much every shooter game is interior destruction. Many small items that can get damaged and destroyed, along with destructible furniture. In many games you have destroyable cups, or paper that will get blown up with a fancy effect, but a table or a closet are apparently made from a material that should be used to build tanks. That can and should change. Small-scale interior destruction is very much doable today, and it can be glorious. A few other things I wanna mention. The graphics. When Crysis first came out, you couldn't max the graphical settings and have a playable frame rate, even on new hardware. I don't think it's a bad thing. Graphics and physics-wise, the game was very innovative back then, and it wouldn't be nearly as impressive if the tech limitations of PCs in 2007 were taken into account. So personally, I wouldn't mind seeing a similar approach taken by someone today. And of course, being the Go Reviews channel, I'll mention that type of response as well. What we have is bloodstains spawning around the character on impact, with a weird limit of 1 stain per character. And blood pools below dead bodies. Animation-wise, you'll see a response on impact, and characters can get knocked over. Also, blood and bodies can be configured to stay. A guide on how to do it can be found in the description below. As you can see, gore doesn't have a big priority in Crysis. However, as far as I recall, some things can be improved by mods. And this is where I wanna make an announcement. One of the next videos on the channel will be a mod recommendation video for Crysis. Not only gore stuff, anything that can enhance the experience will be discussed. So, if you know of a good mod, do let me know about it in the comment section below. To sum the whole thing up, I wish Crytek would make a game with a big emphasis on destruction, preferably in a realistic setting. What they did in 2007 was amazing, and I can only imagine what they could achieve now, almost 10 years later. That's it for today. Let me know how you feel in the comment section, and if you liked the video, subscribe and share it around. If you like the content and you want to support the channel, the Patreon link is in the description below. Until next time.